Why does Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities?
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed, our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years,
here's a map.
They've all gone down.
Most U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you
now,
is
you're
when
talking
you want
about
to fight
violent
crime. Look, you can pull statistics up.
No,
I can
these are
too.
murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half. And very importantly, Brett, and you got to hear this, very importantly, we've been doing the things that are necessary to bring crime down, right? We've invested in community violence interruption. We've invested in police.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So we're going to talk about one of our favorite topics on this channel, which has to do with ICE. So we're just going to jump right into the story. This is from Fox 32 Chicago. Federal agents targeted during violent ICE raids across Chicago, official says. So let's go ahead and read through this article. So Chicago federal immigration officials are revealing new details about several raids that took place across Chicago this week. What we know, the enforcement activities are part of Operation Midway Blitz, which launched across the city in early September and remains underway. Now, officials with the Department of Homeland Security are sharing what unfolded Wednesday, October 22nd, during the arrest of at least 9 people. They say federal agents were targeted in what they are calling, quote, one of its most violent days since beginning the operation. Near 24th Street and Ogden Avenue, immigration officials say a Latin King gang member followed agents in his car and tried to ram them head on, but instead struck a bystander's car. Now, the same day, according to the Department of Homeland Security, officials were at a laundromat when a woman claimed she was putting out a hit on a Chief Border Patrol agent, Gregory Bovino. In other instances, they say people boxed in federal vehicles, fled on foot, and refused to obey commands. DHS Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, Tricia McLaughlin, released the following statement. Quote, while conducting immigration enforcement operations in Cicero and Glendale Heights, agitators stalked law enforcement, rammed vehicles, fled scenes, injured agents, and caused multiple accidents across town, putting law enforcement and the public in danger. Despite the violence, CBP arrested 3 illegal aliens who were breaking our nation's immigration laws. 6 citizens were arrested for impeding and threatening to kill agents. Quote, our officers are facing a surge in assaults against them as they put their lives on the line to arrest murderers, rapists, and gang members. Secretary Noem's message to the rioters is clear. You will not stop us or slow us down. CBP and our federal law enforcement partners will continue to enforce the law, and if you lay a hand on law enforcement officers, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So that was this article in regards to that. And you know, the reason that the violence is ramping up is for the simple fact that you have Governor J.B. Pritzker, who was literally him and Brandon Johnson are literally telling people it's okay to rise up against these people, which is not okay. It's never okay to break the law. You know, like, you can go ahead and protest peacefully. Nobody will have a problem. Nobody would even bat an eye for that. But once you start getting violent, once you start impeding law enforcement, then you have a problem. And what's hilarious to me about this is that they're going to faffle really quick, because I don't think they understand, because they were so used to getting away with stuff that now that there's consequences, I don't think they understand what they're actually going to be losing, because this is a federal crime that they're doing when they're going up against federal law enforcement, which basically means that they're going to spend time in prison. They're going to have a felony on them. They're going to also lose their right to vote, and they're going to also lose their right to carry any guns. So why would you risk all that for nothing? Because anything they did, like the whole No Kings protest, that the first one that happened, the second one, 2.0, then the 3.0 that's going to be happening, none of that is going to stop, you know, immigration from doing their job. So you guys are doing all this for nothing. And if anything, I blame the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois for pushing all this rhetoric and actually making it worse for their citizens. Because believe it or not, a lot of people that come into these protests are not even from the city or surrounding city. They're from other states. And not only that, but if you ask the citizens of Chicago, majority of them are probably for immigration. This is why you have a large population of Chicago that's trying to flip it red. So to say that, that the citizens of Chicago don't want this, they do. It's just that what Brandon Johnson and Pritzker are doing is they're trying to garner votes. That's what all these Democrats are doing. They're going to whisper all these sweet little nothings in your ear because they want your vote. And as soon as they get that vote, se acabó. It's gone. It disappeared. This is how they get you guys every single time. Remember, they kept talking about reparations. And then when they got into office, guess what? 0 reparations. Because that's just a ploy they use to get you to vote for them so they could stay in power. They could care less about you and your family. This is the problem when you elect these people into power that been there for so long that literally lost sight of what's important, which is the people. So these people don't care about anybody but themselves. And that's just a fact. So let's go ahead and jump into this video. This video is from the New York Post. Anti-ICE protesters block entrance to California Coast Guard Island. Now, this is on the heels of the fact that you have all these governors, like Governor Pritzker, you have Newsom, you have the mayor of Chicago, mayor of New York, all these places, all these blue areas saying, oh, ICE is the bad guys. All people are doing are peacefully protesting. Bull-ish.
What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? I can't
trying to stop us from seeing that, so they're going to get in the way. Hey, they don't want us to see that. They want to make sure that they can cover up any of the way they...
I like how they said the prettiest spot to do this.
We just want the roadway open in case somebody has a medical emergency.
And it's so funny because I could have sworn it was against the law to protest on the street. I could have sworn you needed to have a permit to protest. And honestly, ICE is not there trying to do harm. They're just trying to follow the law. And if you don't like what our current laws are, then your people that you voted in should be changing that. And you guys have to remember, everybody that's out there complaining about this, they have to remember that Trump won. He is the president of the United States, whether you like it or not. He will be your president for the next 3 years because we're barely a year in. And he not only won by a big margin, he also won the popular vote. He won the swing states. That should be a huge thing for all these people to understand, that everybody got tired of these woke people's crap. And they want to bring law and order back to this country. They want to be able to sustain their life and be able to live their life without having these woketards freaking affect their lives. So right now it's just showing you just video footage of the vehicles going through. And you see them just standing there, they're not doing much. They're just talking to the protesters. And I use that word lightly because you know how it goes with these people. The next video is from DHS alleges protesters threw rocks, fireworks at federal agents. This is from News Nation. So let's go ahead and jump into this video now.
Happening now, protests are starting outside of a suburban Chicago ICE facility once again. The Border Patrol chief has been overseeing Operation Midway Blitz, now part of a new court filing against the Department of Homeland Security. Gregory Bavino is accused of violating a judge's order and personally tossing tear gas at anti-ICE protesters.
Now, if you watch any of the lives that are done on, YouTube, like Portland Andy, you have the Cam Higbee, you have any of the TikTokers, Honey Badger Mom, any of these people, Nick Shirley. If you watch these, you will clearly hear ICE giving warnings to these people. And they give multiple warnings. It's not like they say, hey guys, stop what you're doing or we're gonna just throw stuff. They're not whispering it and they're not saying it politely like that. They're just telling you like, hey guys, stop your crap. And if you don't move back, or if you keep impeding us, or if you put hands on us, we're gonna have to do something about it. Then they give you a second warning, then a third warning. After multiple warnings, they're like, you know what? Y'all don't want to listen. Here it goes. Bam, you know? And this is not including the fact that you have these people that are coming there with weapons. So you have people there that are coming with guns, people that are coming in with knives. You also have people there that are also, you know, pushing these ICE agents. You have people that are spitting at them and throwing things at them, you know, throwing rocks, bottles, you know, stuff like that. So you FAFO'd, you know? So like, I don't understand why these people feel like it's okay for them to do that and then want to cry and whine and bitch and moan about getting caught up and getting tossed in jail. It's like, you can't have it both ways, bro.
Has been covering these protests for us from week outside of the Broadview ICE facility in Chicago. She's there again this morning. What's happening around you? Have there been any clashes thus far today?
Hi, Marnie. No clashes today. It's a complete 180 from what we saw last Friday when protesters were in the streets. Police told protesters this morning they could go ahead to their protest zone earlier than usual as long as they did not get in the streets. And if they did, they would face arrest. Of course, we now see that they have blocked off the road with cars. We did speak with one of the protesters who was arrested last Friday. Take a listen.
What we've seen this past week has been an escalation from ICE in the city. We've seen them violate the TRO. We saw Greg Bovino himself throw a tear gas canister at people in Little Village yesterday. They arrested multiple U.S. citizens. They arrested high school students.
It's like, what were they doing, right? If they're throwing stuff like tear gas, what were you guys doing? I really hate when these people like to just straight up lie to people. And the problem with this is that there's going to be people out there that believe all this ish that this chick is talking, you know? So one of the reasons why I wanted to create my channel was because I got so sick and tired of hearing my family members and my friends and my husband's fam spouting these same talking points without knowing the full facts. And it gets so annoying because when I watch, you know, all these live conferences, these live feeds from people that are protesting and stuff like that, when I was watching all this stuff break down in front of my eyes, and then to hear them spout this bull crap that they're spouting, it irks the crap out of me because it's like, I can't believe people believe this lie. But then again, most people are not going to research it like the way I do because I like to be informed. So the people that she's talking about, they got arrested. They're arresting U.S. citizens that were probably impeding, you know, ICE agents from doing their job. They probably got told, back up, you know, do not stop me or you're going to go to jail. They probably said, don't put your hands on me. You know, don't pull at this person. You know, they probably were giving them chance after chance, and these people didn't listen. So guess what? You go to jail. You go directly to jail. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200. Bye-bye. So what she's saying is stupid. And even if it was a young minor, so there was a chick on here as well who was crying, and it was like a Latin chick saying, oh, my 16-year-old boy got arrested. Boo-hoo, why? Because he's such a good boy. But it turns out that your son threw a water bottle, and I don't even know if it's like an ice, you know, like if the water bottle was frozen or what, but he was throwing projectiles at cops, at these ICE agents. So guess what? Your son broke the law, and now he got consequences. And instead of bitching and moaning and crying on TV about your child saying he was such a good boy, those are not an action of a good kid. Just flat out saying it. I don't care how passionate he was or whatever. Those are not good actions. He obviously has no home training because she gave him no home training. So all these talking points that these people are trying to do is BS. And if most people knew the truth, they wouldn't be believing any of this. And they'd be like, yes, let's flip Chicago red.
Under the temporary restraining order, federal agents or officers are not supposed to use riot control methods like tear gas unless there is an imminent threat. But new video appears to show Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino toss a can of tear gas into the crowd of protesters in Chicago. And attorneys representing the protesters, journalists, and clergy members say that the video shows Bovino and agents disobey the TRO. Community members say that a warning was never given. Protesters demonstrating after federal agents and officers were spotted in a majority Hispanic neighborhood of Little Village this week. At least 6 people were detained Thursday. Chicago police also responded to multiple 911 calls, including from federal agents needing assistance. One person was arrested for allegedly battering a CPD officer, and community members say that 2 students on the way to school were detained and allegedly assaulted by federal agents. Now, we did just get a statement from the Department of Homeland Security about this incident that happened. They say that Border Patrol agents were conducting an enforcement operation in Little Village, and they were surrounded by a group of nearly 100 protesters, and they were telling the protesters to get back. DHS says that protesters were throwing fireworks and rocks and other objects at agents, including one that struck the head of Chief Bovino. And they say that they were given multiple warnings to back up, or chemical agents like tear gas would be used, but they did not back up. And the DHS statement also saying that the use of tear gas was needed to keep the safety of protesters and agents. Now, of course, this is also coming at the same time that Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has created an accountability commission to document the instances of Operation Midway Blitz and to examine what's happening.
I swear to God, I hate this guy. He is such full of ish. Because again, guys, he is just up here because he wants to be president. So he's up here trying to whisper sweet nothing in everybody's ear, and he ain't gonna do nothing about it. Because both the executive orders that he and Brandon Johnson signed does nothing. It's just political talking points. It does nothing because their stuff cannot supersede the law of the land, which is the federal government. So them doing this is just for clicks. That's all. It's just, one of those opportunities to take a photo and say, look, guys, I'm doing this for you guys. And it's so not why they're doing it. Man, I'm so sick of this guy.
Accusing federal agents of, quote, a dangerous abuse of power. Pritzker wants the people of Illinois to record everything and post it on social media. The Department of Homeland Security responding in part.
And you see, stuff like this is what's going to put ICE agents' lives in danger. Because you have, like you saw before, gangbangers that are putting hits out on ICE agents. People are ramming their vehicles at them. And then if you dox these people, you're going to put their lives even more in danger, because if they're going out to eat with their children or to the store and they're with their loved ones, you're putting their loved ones in danger. But these people don't give no crap about that. This governor doesn't care. He's all like, I'm about law and order. We're following the law. No, you're not. Because the easiest thing that these guys could have did was, once they got the detainer, and they would have been like, okay, we got it. We got this guy. He's in prison. We're going to hold him until ICE gets here. No, what do? Oh, detainer? Trash. Well, you're free to go, dude. And then ICE comes in like, bro, where's the dude? And then they're like, this is what your governor is doing. This is what the mayor of Chicago is doing. They do not care about their citizens. Because if they did, they would be following the law, letting law enforcement do their job. Then at that point, ICE wouldn't have to go into the communities. But Pritzker and Brandon Johnson need something to run on. So, of course, they're going to be running on Orange Man Bad, because there's enough stupids out there that think that, hey, you're right, Orange Man is bad, so we're going to vote for you. And it's like, but they're not going to do nothing. That's what y'all don't understand. Chicago has been blue for so long, and it's never gotten better. Now is the time to start thinking for yourself and being like, you know what? Maybe we'll try the other guy and see how it works out. Because if it doesn't work out with the other guy, guess what? You get to vote in a new guy. You can also recall them. There's like options there for you guys. But that's just my thoughts on this.
Quote, once again, Governor Pritzker continues to smear law enforcement who simply enforce the rule of law and are putting their lives on the line to remove violent criminals from Illinois because J.B. Pritzker refuses to do his job. Now, Pritzker says that a report from this commission will be released in January. And of course, anti-ICE protests continue throughout the Chicagoland area, with more planned tomorrow. And of course, some happening right now, Marnie.
All right, in Broadview for us this morning, Mills Hayes,
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
So that's what's going on right now in Broadview, Illinois, and, you know, what's happening with the ICE agents and being doxxed, and, you know, all the Democrats trying to create this stuff to dox them, which is very unconstitutional. And it's putting, you know, our law enforcement in danger. And like I said before, these people don't care. And if you have a loved one that works in law enforcement, that works in ICE, you know, I feel bad if they get doxxed for you guys, you know, because I wouldn't want anybody to be injured, you know, and it sucks that they have to deal with these stupid people that believe all the lies that these Democrats are telling them. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Till next time, guys.